Right, so I think it's no real question that United have some players that they just either need to shift out, get out. There's some that I think could do the long spell possibly. To maybe Championship. I think the younger players, like they're 19 to 21, I think they could do going to Championship. It gets them used to how the Prem will work, but it's not like. It's not against the top quality teams. Yes, it's still against pretty like mid to lower table teams, like your Middlesbrough, your Swansea, your Norwich. Those teams that have played in the Prem, so there is some experience there essentially, and there's some that genuinely need to go. They're just not good enough, or they're running down on contracts, and the best thing we can realistically do is get some amount of money for them instead of letting them go on a free. So I'm going to have a look at United's current squad and what I personally needs to happen with each player. So that's essentially what I'm going to do in this. So we're going to start with goalkeepers, and so we have De Gea, Heaton, Henderson, and then Butland. De Gea is obviously a keep. For now, he's our best keeper. So there's a no-brainer about this. I'd be keeping him without a shadow of doubt. Heaton is an okay keeper. He's getting on in his career. He's getting older. So I think he's a decent enough third choice keeper. I wouldn't be having him first or the sub. I'd be having him third, so like pre-season type stuff to let our main keepers have a rest. I think that's where you need players like Heaton. Henderson. Now, what I think should happen with Henderson, I don't think will happen. And it's not that Ten Hag won't use him. I think Henderson won't be happy with realistically what way Ten Hag might use him. I personally think Henderson could be good, but not as our number one. I think him having like as rotation keeper, because De Gea is great at saving. He's great at like the old school keeper, but Ten Hag's system, as well as just football in general, is going forward. It's getting better. It's improving, and keepers now need to be comfortable with the ball at the feet. They need to be able to distribute it really, really nicely. So instead of just having 10 outfield players and the keeper, I think the keeper kind of needs to be almost like the 11th actual player. So I think that needs to happen. I think out of the keepers we have at the minute, Dean Henderson kind of fits that bill better than any of them. But I don't think Henderson will be happy with that role. So I think either we rotate him, or if he's just going to play, like straight up just say, no, I want to be first team, then we sell him. We sell him, and then I think we bring a keeper that's possibly in the academy, possibly in the under 21s. I think we bring them up to the first team squad just as a backup keeper. Butland's only on a loan, so I'd let his loan run out. Realistically, we don't need Butland, and as I said, Henderson might agree to be the rotation keeper, and then we'll have De Gea as first, Henderson as the rotating keeper, Heaton as a third keeper, and then if we really need, again, bring one of the academy players up, and I think that could work out. Defenders. Now, I think we have a lot of defenders, but a lot we could cash in on right now. Personally, Lindelof, I'd be keeping him. I think Lindelof is highly underrated. I think people think he's bad or he's just not good enough, down to the fact he always seems to be playing with Maguire, and I think Maguire would pull any defender down when you put them next to him. Maguire does be all over the shop, so obviously, just from what I'm saying, I'd be selling Maguire, easily selling Maguire. But I'd be keeping Lindelof. I think he's a very versatile defender, and I think he's underrated, and I just think people underestimate him at times. But I think he's quality. I think he's a solid backup centre back, so your third or fourth choice centre back. I think he's really good for that. Bailly, I'd be selling. I'd sell Bailly. There's another player on the list that I'd be selling because they're very similar to Bailly. On their day, they're a pretty solid player. Bailly, I think, is a solid player on his day. But he's just had a career that's been injury riddled. So many injuries. I think the main injury he tends to get is one of his knees. I think he has a bad knee. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And he's not an awful defender, so I think a Crystal Palace or a Leicester would happily take Bailly. I'd be trying to send him out. Not send him out, I'd be trying to sell him while he still has a contract. Try and get some sort of money for him. That's what I'd personally be doing. Phil Jones. I'm on the fence about Phil Jones. In fairness, I'm on the fence about him. He's not a great defender. But he's not awful as well. Like, when Jones is on the field, I think a lot of United fans have to accept that he tries his best when he's on the field. So I don't know, he'd be a solid fourth choice centre back, but it's will he take that as his role, or will he want to try getting more first team action while he's coming kind of towards the end of his career? Again, very like Bailly, he's also been prone to injuries. Maguire, as we've discussed, I want him gone. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's United level, and he's just caused too many problems than solving. So I think he needs to go. Martinez, Malacia, Varane, Dalot, keep them all. They're all solid, very good. Mainly Martinez and Varane, we need them desperately. Only two great centre backs we have at the club, so I think without a shadow of a doubt they need to be staying. Luke Shaw, again, very good. I'd be keeping him. He's playing as a left back. Is passing and creating chances, I think, is very good. And again, he's been great when Ten Hag has deployed him as a centre back, so I'd be keeping him. Alex Telles, I would keep Alex Telles. I genuinely would. Down to the fact, I think with our defenders, I think our biggest problem is solid centre backs. Like, we have a couple of like decent and pretty good to average kind of wing backs and full backs. But I think our problem is our centre backs. Obviously Martinez and Varane are going to be our first choice go-to centre backs, and then I think a pairing of Lindelof and Shaw is actually a pretty good pairing. We've seen it a couple of times over the season when Ten Hag has paired those two up. Pretty solid pairing, so I'd be keeping both of them. I'd be having them as our second choice pairing for centre back. But Telles, I still think Telles is a good defender. And as I said, I think we should play Shaw more as a centre back at times. But I'd be keeping Telles as a backup full back. Brandon Williams, I'd be getting rid of him. I just can't see him making into the first team, and I just think he has a bit of an attitude at times. I think he loses his head and loses his cool really easy. So I think while he's still young, we should sell him, because I think we can get a decent enough amount of money. I'd say we could probably get about 15 to maybe 25 mil. But I do think we could get a decent amount of money. Again, young, pretty solid, and English. And a lot of people, I think everyone knows, when it comes to English players, they have ridiculous tax on them. So I think we should try cash in on Williams. Wan-Bissaka, I'd keep. If you asked me last season, I would have said sell. But I think Wan-Bissaka has been so good this season. He's improved immensely. I don't think a lot of us could have seen him getting this good and putting the effort he has in. But yeah, I'd be keeping Wan-Bissaka without a shadow of a doubt. Axel Tuanzebe, I'd be selling him. I would to be completely honest, in 2017, 2018, I thought maybe he had a chance to become almost like a Lindelof type of player, a backup. But it's just not worked out. He's been sent out on numerous loans now, and even on some of his loans he's not getting into the first team. So I think both for the club and for the player, I think it's best we sell him while we can. Mengi, I'd be selling Mengi on loan. He looks pretty decent. I think he's like 20, 21, maybe a year, possibly 2 years, preferably to the Championship again. Give him a bit of of playing time, getting used to that type of stuff. So I think I'd be sending him on loan. Who is it now? What's his name? Alvarez Fernandez? I think it's Alvarez Fernandez. If it's not, hopefully I've edited in his actual name. I made a sham of that. But I'd be keeping him. He's been on loan at Birmingham, I think, and he looks good. He looks like there's potential there. Yeah, I'd be using Fernandez similar to what I was saying about Telles. If we're playing a team, say like Brentford, we'd be able to give Wan-Bissaka and Dalot a rest and have Telles and Fernandez starting fullbacks. Telles will get a bit of game time, keep him nice and fit and good to go, and Fernandez will get a bit more game time and taste of the Prem. I think that's what we should do with these players. Moving on to the midfield. Do you know what? I think our midfield is pretty solid, which is surprising because for the past couple of years it's been a bit dull. We've had a couple of good players, but it's not as solid as I personally think it is at the moment. Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Casemiro, Fred, I'd be keeping them all. I think they've all been solid throughout the season. Casemiro has been so unbelievably good for us. A lot of people are saying, he's getting older now, he's like 30 odd, probably shouldn't have got him, he's just going there to get the money. And I thought that as well, but he's been ridiculously good and consistently solid for us, so obviously I'd be keeping him for the time being. We have Sabitzer on loan. Now, I'd be doing as much as I could to get him on a permanent, because I think he would be the perfect replacement for when Eriksen eventually either leaves or retires. I think he'd be perfect. I think him and Eriksen are very similar kind of players. They can attack when needed, but their main thing is like getting passes in. They're very similar kind of box-to-box playmaking central mids, I think, so I'd be getting Sabitzer on a permanent deal. So moving on to more of our midfielders, I think I said Fred I'd be keeping. Now I don't know how some people will react to this. I think Donny van de Beek should be sold. Personally, I don't know, we could see what he's like in pre-season, see if he's all good, because when he was at Ajax he was really, really good, but he's just come to United, and I don't know whether it's he didn't get enough playing time at the start, or he was told he's going to be like the main kind of central midfielder and he just hasn't gotten that. I don't know whether his confidence has gone down, but something's gone wrong with him. And I would genuinely consider selling him while we can still make some sort of a profit from him. I'd consider it. Pellistri I'd keep. I think Pellistri's brilliant. I really like Pellistri. I'd be keeping him. Hannibal, again, he's out on loan at the moment. When he comes back, I'd be keeping him. I'd be getting him into a fair few games in pre-season. I think he has potential. I think he'd be brilliant if we give him more games. I do genuinely think he could be a really solid player for us in the future. I really like him. I'd be keeping him. Iqbal, I'd be keeping him as well. Personally, think he could be a solid central midfield player in the future. I think he's a very box-to-box type of central midfield, so I'd be using him a lot. Him and Hannibal, again, I'd be using almost like Alvarez Fernandez, and I'd be playing them against like teams we realistically should be beating, like Brentford, like your Leicesters, like your Southamptons, those kind of teams where it's not you're walking over them. There's a little bit of bite back, but I think we need to play more young players like those. Kobe Maino, I'd consider I'd consider sending Maino out on loan. He's got a couple of games this season, but I think if we really want them to kind of build to the player Ten Hag could see him being, I think he needs loan and consistent first team football. So I'd be sending him out on like a year loan, possibly. Scott McTominay. Now, I don't think we should sell McTominay. And I know there's probably going to be some people sitting there like, well, it's why not? Newcastle want them. We don't really want them. Sell them. I personally think McTominay could be a lot better for us than he is at the moment, down to a position change. I think we could utilise McTominay as a centre forward or a central attacking mid. More so a centre forward, because that's kind of that attacking kind of centre forward, centre attacking mid is what he plays for Scotland. And when he plays for Scotland, he's really, really, really good. Like, he's a solid all-round player. So I think we need to play him more as a centre forward or an attacking mid kind of option for maybe a season. See how that works. If it doesn't work, then probably sell him. But I think he could be used really well as a central forward. I think that's where we need to use him more. And then we're moving on to the forwards. Now, forwards is probably the most kind of mixed batch of what I think we should do with them. First one, and I don't think anyone will complain about this, Weghorst, once his loan is up, I think we just let him go. He's not United quality. He isn't. I get people say he chases defenders and he puts pressure on them, but he's not there to put pressure on them. He's there to get goals for us. As a centre forward and a striker, your kind of job is to score the goals, which he hasn't. And I just think he's a bit slow of a player for how quick the tempo between the rest of the squad can be at times. Am I saying he's an awful player? No, I'm just saying he's not a fit for the United squad at the moment. And again, if Ten Hag wants a centre forward, that's where I think McTominay could come in. I think McTominay would be a far better centre forward. Martial. Saying about Phil Jones that there was another player I'm kind of on the fence about. It was Martial. Because, like, I think a lot of people will say Martial is a lazy player. And then there's some people, one of them being Mark Goldbridge, will say, well, Ten Hag says he's one of the hardest working on the training ground. It's all well and good being hard working on the training ground, but we don't see it enough when he actually is in the game, when he's on the field. Like, when you look at the game against Brighton, right, semi-finals, and you just don't see it out of him. Like, there was one of the attacking plays where Anthony's coming up the right, and with it being Anthony, he's put it on his left, he's taking a shot, and Sanchez can't get his hands on it and catch it, but he deflects it out. But it's at that moment where Martial should have put that in the back of the net, but he didn't, because Anthony took a shot and Martial just gave up. So it's in that kind of moment where I think people say he's lazy. So it's not that he's completely lazy. He's just, I wouldn't say he's lazy, he switches off. That would be more accurate. I think he switches off too much for a striker. And I think he's very injury prone. When he's fit, I think he's great. When he's fit, I think he's very, very solid. Again, if he doesn't switch off. But he's very injury prone. He switches off a lot. And I think he's probably one of our more sellable players. So I personally would be considering selling Anthony Martial. Marcus Rashford, Anthony, I'd keep all of them. They're all been really solid. Rashford has been brilliant this season. He's turned it around so quickly. And by far one of my favourite players at the club at the moment. Jadon Sancho, I'd be changing his position as well. So McTominay, I'd be changing to more of a centre forward. Jadon Sancho, I think he'd be a better attacking midfielder. Like, we got Sancho from Dortmund for the assists he was making. And I know some people will say, oh, well, it's easy to assist when you're playing behind Haaland. And it is. It would make it so much easier if you're playing behind Haaland, and all you have to do is give him the ball and the ball's going into the back of the net 9 times out of 10. But I genuinely think we need to use Sancho more as an attacking midfielder. I don't think we have a solid central attacking mid to like replace Bruno. What I'm afraid of happening is I'm afraid Bruno will be run down and end up knackered. Almost like what happened with Rashford before the Euros. I think he played every single game for United up until the Euros, which is good and all to have a player on form, but you can't run them into the ground, because what happens then? Which is what I don't want to happen with Bruno. Brilliant player. But anyway, back to what I was saying, I think Jadon Sancho would be a better central attacking midfielder than left winger. His passing at times is really good. It's out in the wing when it's one-on-one is when I think he panics, and where he's lost the ball a lot. So it'd be very similar to McTominay. I'd change his position, give him like a season. If it doesn't work, sell him. Shola Shottire, again, I'd be sending him out on loan again. I think he's only like 19. I'd be sending him out on loan for another year at the Championship. Because I think his loan ends up this season. Maybe he's already out on a 2-year loan, which then, we don't really have to worry about him. Anthony Elanga, been very 50-50 this season. Sometimes he's really good, and other times he's not. It just seems like he's not as sharp as he would have been last season. I think what has to happen with Elanga is I think he should go on loan. I think personally think Dortmund will be a great place for Elanga to go on loan. So yeah, it would probably be somewhere in Germany or somewhere in Spain. I think Elanga would be really, really good out there. Again, very quick, a lot of dribbling on the wing, which I think Elanga's good at. So I'd be looking to possibly loan him out for maybe half a season to a season. I'd be keeping Garnacho. When it comes to transfers, there's a few players I think we could really sell. I have a look at here. Bailly, I think we could realistically get 15 to 20 million from him. Jones, if we end up deciding to sell him, I think you're probably looking at 10 to maybe 12 or 13 million. Again, he's pretty average as a centre back, and again, he's getting older. Maguire, I do genuinely think we could get 25 to 30 million for him. Again, he's not an awful centre back, and he's consistently in the England squad, so I think we could genuinely get 25 to 30 million for him. Tuanzebe, I think we could probably get 15 to maybe 18-20 million. Williams, I think we could get 18 to 20 for Williams. I genuinely do think we could get that. Donny, I think we could get 35 for Van der Beek. And Martial, I'd say probably 35 as well. Now, there's a few players that have been linked with United at the moment. I think right now what we need, obviously a ball playing goalkeeper is top of the list, and for me the number one pick is AC Milan's Mignan. I think that's right. Fucking hope it is. But he's first choice French goalkeeper and first choice for AC Milan. I've seen it both internationally and Champions League wise. More internationally though, because I try not watch the Champions League because United aren't in it, and that upsets me. But I think Mignan would be a perfect suit, and I'd say we're realistically going to have to pay, I'd say probably 90 to 100 million for him. Jeremy Frimpong, I think he also looks solid. I think he'd be good. Probably have him to pay 44 to 50 million for him. When it comes to fullbacks, he'd kind of be top of my list. Barcelona's Balde looks good, and I think he's only like 19, so he's, again, potential's there. Would we get him though? Probably not. I think he's too important for the Barca team. He's a very rotation kind of player. There's a centre back, and I think if we get a centre back, he'd be brilliant. It's not Kim Min-jae. I do think Kim Min-jae would be an unreal centre back for us. I'd be going for Fikayo Tomori. Not only has he been in almost every single appearance, in every match AC Milan has played this season, he's been there for almost every single one. I think he might have missed like 2 or 3. But not only that, he's played in the Prem before with Chelsea. So I think that's why I'd probably give him. I'd probably go for him over Kim Min-jae for that reason. He's just played in the Prem before, so we have more of an idea of how it will work and what needs to be done. But if we can't get him, second choice will be Kim Min-jae. I think Kim Min-jae is really, really good. A player that I've heard could be linked with United is Monaco's Cisse. I think people are saying that he's almost like a young Varane, could be a second Varane. Do I think we should get him? No, I think Kim Min-jae or Fikayo Tomori are the better centre backs, more experience. So I'd just be going one of those. There's two central midfielders I would go with, and it's not Jude Bellingham is neither of them. Neither of them are Jude Bellingham. I think Jude Bellingham right now is overrated and overpriced. My first choice is an unrealistic, and there's no ifs and buts about it. It's an unrealistic transfer. But if we got him, I'd be over the moon. I'd be delighted. And it's Real Madrid's Valverde. I think Valverde is the perfect midfielder. He can play central midfield, defensive midfield, and attacking midfield. Wherever you need him, he will go. So I think Valverde, in my opinion, is far better than Bellingham at the moment. And the second one would be Tielemans. I think Youri Tielemans has become very slept on over this season because of how Leicester have gone throughout the season. I do think Tielemans is kind of become a bit not overrated and not maybe a little underrated, but not massively. I think his contract at Leicester ends this season or next season. So if we need another centre back, because Tielemans plays centre back, doesn't he? Central mid. If we need another central mid, possibly Tielemans could be a guy to go to. Free, and he's played in the Prem. He has the experience. He knows how to work everything in the Prem. And obviously, the two places we need to sort out is a ball playing goalkeeper and an out and out striker who's gonna be able to get us goals. And my choice for that are two. Well, the two players that have been linked with United I have down. Obviously one is Kane. I don't think I'd be on for Kane. I really don't. He's good and all, but it'd be very like what we've gotten out of Casemiro, Varane and Eriksen. All still quality players, but we've missed out on them while they're in their peak. So I wouldn't be going for Kane. The striker will be going on, and I'm sure every other United fan is probably screaming, Victor Osimhen. He has been almost godly at times in Serie A this season. I think he's ridiculous this season. Would he be able to carry it into the Prem? I'd say he would. I really think he would. So I think if we're going for any striker, I think Osimhen is number one target. So out of the people I've listed and out of the transfers, I think could be a good shot. The four I'd be looking at, more so three of them. So in most crucial to like least crucial out of the four, most crucial, Osimhen. Yes, De Gea isn't comfortable with the ball at his feet, but he's still a really solid keeper. But we need an out and out striker. Our only real striker kind of players at the moment are Martial and Rashford, and even at that, Rashford is a better introverted winger, so I'd be keeping him there. Osimhen would be my number one target. Brilliant player. I think he'd be brilliant for United and brilliant in the Prem. Only downfall is we'd have to pay about 150 million, so that's not great. Second would be Mignan again. Brilliant keeper, very good with the ball at his feet, great distributor of the ball. He'd be second on the list. Tomori would be third for me. Yes, Frimpong could be more likely to join United, but like our fullbacks are like half decent. Even our younger half like fullbacks are pretty good. Where we lack is central backs. Our centre backs were lacking. When we're pulling a left back to play central back over people like Maguire and Jones and Bailly, that's a problem. So I think we need to fix that. And I think the person and the player to fix that is Fikayo Tomori. And then obviously last of the most crucial is Frimpong. Again, would he go to United? Probably. I can't see him going to United. Do we need him right now? Probably not. If he was on a free, or if he was like 20 million, like 15 to 20 million, I'd be like, sure, go for it. He'd be good for a squad. But when you're looking at like 44 to 50 million, no, I'd be using that money and some of the money that we could make off our transfers of people to go out of the club to get obviously a new keeper and a new striker. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.